Hi guys, welcome back to the CFL podcast, and today I'm here with Grace. She's right there. Told you. There she is.
Hi guys.
And she's back. Okay, so this is season 2, episode 3 of the CFL podcast with Grace and Matt. And today, were you gonna talk?
No, remember, I don't talk yet because I get in trouble.
Yeah.
You just tell me when I can speak to the people.
Not now. We'll have to edit that out. Welcome back. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the CrossFit Open. Today was 20.2. Down at the gym, thrusters, toes to bar, and double unders for the rest of your life. And I don't know where I was going to go with that one.
I was going to talk, but am I allowed to yet?
Okay, yeah, you could talk.
It was dumbbell thrusters, which 8 people alive, I'd say. Versus,
oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I noticed the most. I think last week, so 20.1, was a lot of breathing, heart rate, burpees. A lot of people can keep doing burpees. A lot of people could still keep moving 95 or 65. This week, I think, was a different story because there's only a couple people that like really got to that ugly place by the end because they can do toes to bar, they can sufficiently do double unders and move their dumbbell weight. But I think a lot of people either got stuck working on the toes to bar, getting through their double unders, or moving the weight of the thrusters, what I saw.
It's funny, there's a bunch of people that were like, hey, do you got a quick tip like before I start about what to do with my double unders? And I was like, yeah, go back in time and practice.
Practice for 1 year.
Yeah, no, basically with the double unders, that's the biggest like thing to do is just continue to practice them. We have some timing drills and some other cues and stuff like that, but as you guys know, those only go as far as you actually do them and then practice your double unders. So take it as a good lesson, like don't just default to singles all the time. If you're in between or if you want to get double unders, maybe scale back the number in the workouts or count every attempt that you do and then start practice more on your double unders. Also, maybe practice doing your reps correctly.
That would be something.
It's always funny. We were having a conversation off camera before this, and we were talking about like you come over and as like we float around as we watch everybody doing it, we watch the judges, and we know that some of us it's hard to tell your friend, like especially when they're in their darkest moments of the workout, that they have to do that rep again because it didn't count. Like I know I don't always like doing that. Or do I?
Or do I?
Yeah, I'm like, nope, didn't count, do it again. But just as a reminder, I know that when we float around, some of us look at us like we are the enemy. And we are not. We're just upholding a standard. A
standard that you paid and signed up for. A standard of which is universal to everyone in the world. So yes, your toes have to hit the bar on a toes to bar. And when you're squatting and
the dickens you say.
When you're squatting and we're telling you to squat lower, it's because your friends, they're standing there.
Wait, you know what I just thought of?
What?
It's why they call it toes the bar. Because your toes touch the bar.
Is that like something that's like something I would say? You're not being serious.
No, I'm not being serious.
Oh. I was like, that's something that happens to me.
I was just being a jerk.
I was like, U-Haul. Like, U-Haul it. That's why it's called that. I always thought it was like someone's last name, like David U-Haul. But it makes sense, right? Anyways.
Back in 1945 when David U-Hauled it on his back.
I mean, it's not spelled like...
No, I know. It's literally spelled as you and then the word haul.
Right, I just thought it was last name. Whatever.
You'd be like self-admitted that way. Okay, back to us not being... or hating everybody because they're not doing their reps right.
No, it's just like the whole reason you sign up for it and the whole thing like you want is to be able to have a comparable against your score, to be able to compare it to the next person and the next year and whatnot.
It's equal in every workout.
And to make it equal, everyone does the same exact standard, which is not the wildest thing, but it's like people don't want to call out their friends doing it, and it's, to me, you're not doing anything bad. They're asking for a judge and they're asking to be a part of the Open. If they didn't want to, they don't have to sign up. But I think you're robbing them like of that because then it's not comparable in a year. When you do it in a year and you get the same score and you're like, oh, but like really if you're not holding it to the same standard, you can't compare it.
Right, yeah. We say it all the time, like if you're going to run a 400 meter race and we're all going to race 400 meters, what's the point of the race if I stop at 200 meters?
Right.
And then call it good and try to compare my time.
Like it's not the same race.
Yeah, so just remember, we love you guys. And all the time in classes and stuff, that's why there's a differentiator. Like I know if you guys know, I'll come in class and I'll tell you a couple times, stand all the way up with the box, squat all the way down, make sure you have full control overhead with the barbell or dumbbell in this case. And obviously I'm not going to walk over to class and like tell you to stop and tell you that that rep doesn't count. You have to redo it and stuff like that on a day-to-day basis. That would be ridiculous because we're all working to try to better our movement all the time anyways. But like Grace said, when you are signed up to the Open, you're held to a different level of accountability. And that's something that should be embraced. Like, don't look for shortcuts. That shit is fucking weak.
Well, and I
Don't do that.
I think it's important too to realize that the standard is there like for a reason. Like toe to bar, like you're going to the maximum height that you can go, and like a squat when you're going all the way down, like you're not loading up your knees and like shortening up your rep. Like you're going to where your like body wants to go to.
Right.
Instead of like,
oh yeah, like are you saying like you doing it on purpose versus like you're just doing
no,
it?
No, like a standard isn't there to like harm people. Like the standard is there because then you're like when you do like full range of motion and like the bottom of a pull-up, it's because then you're getting like the maximum like distance out of it. You're not like
yeah, so what,
here. Like
I
it's
think
not
a better
bad thing.
A better way to sum up what you're saying is that the standard is invented by the range of motion of the movement. It's not something that's like
arbitrarily made up.
Right,
just to, like,
exactly.
make it harder
Yeah.
on
So
you.
the reason why the standard, like we'll use a squat as an example, is hip creases below the knee line because that is a full range, full hip functioning squat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your hips are properly functioning, you could, and you can't teach this to anybody. See, we have so many babies and small kids that are in the gym all the time. Watch the way they sit down. They perform a perfect squat. And if you guys out there that are parents know you could hardly teach your kids anything at that age, let alone the mechanics of an air squat, it's impossible. But if you just watch them sit down, they do it naturally. So those are where the standards come from. The toes to bar one, you could make the argument, but that's actually just full flexion of the midline.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting you...
and then that gives us a start and end to finish. Same with like the box jump. That's why it's always a box jump over in the Open, because you need a clear definition of where the rep started and where the rep ended. That's
and like
why
the
our burpees.
Yeah,
exactly.
because they used to have it, they've kind of like changed the standard around.
They always do. Every year the burpee standard changes. Every year the burpee standard changes. It's
But they
6 inch
used
to
to
a
be that
target.
you- yeah,
it's you
6
can
inch to
step
a
back.
target.
It's you can't step back. You have to jump. You have to jump both feet. You
You can
know
jump
what I mean?
both feet but land one. You can
Right.
jump with...
It changes every year. So same with that handstand push-up standard, which, oh boy,
Good God.
what's it gonna be this year?
Yeah, but then they made them strict, and that was easier to at least judge.
That was,
because,
yeah, that was
good
easier
God.
to judge. The kipping, there's just way too much gray area in that movement. But yeah, so back to the main point of the conversation is that what we're looking for as coaches is we want to make it fair, because guess what? People always see it in the gym, and then all the shit rolls downhill to us. And so everybody's going to come and say, hey, so-and-so's rep
So-and-so
didn't
did
count.
this.
Who is judging them? So nobody's ever going to say it to you guys. And actually, now that we've called it out, nobody would ever admit that they're that person.
There's a lot of those people.
Believe me.
There's a lot of them.
Believe me. So just remind yourself of that, is that everybody's watching, and of course, you know, it gets a little emotional with the Open because people put a lot into those workouts.
It's literally
and
not
everything
made out
else.
of emotion. It's just a standard.
Well, the workouts are emotional, but the standard doesn't
That's
give a
because
shit
you're wimps.
about your feelings.
I ain't got... Okay, I'm done.
Okay, good job. But that's really the long and the short of it, is that the standard is there to represent a full range of motion and to give us all clear rules to play within the game. And if you go outside of that, you're not playing, you're playing a different game. And our job isn't to make you feel bad or to take away your hard-earned reps. It's just to make sure that we uphold the accountability, because inevitably everybody comes to us anyways.
Well, and also I
Not
think...
in a negative context.
But I think it's
just
important that,
the
like,
reality of the situation.
friends judge friends, boyfriends judge girlfriends, husbands judge wives. Matt and I aren't allowed to judge each other anymore, though.
Well, that's
like,
because we get in an argument.
there was one little incident when I threw my elbow at him. And
Almost caught a
everyone
boat.
got dramatic.
So Brad Roots today was deep into the workout and was moving fast. He got, I think, 17 plus rounds or 18 plus rounds. And I can't remember, I don't know what scorecard. But on one of the rounds, he was breaking his toe to bar into 3 and 3. And he did 3 of his toe to bar, and he kind of took a step out, and I yelled to him, hey, you got 3 more. And he thought I was talking about the rounds he needs to make to reach his goal.
Oh.
And he thought he was done with the toes to bar. So he goes to bend over to grab his double, and the music's loud and everybody's yelling, and I'm yelling like, you got 3 more toe to bar, you got 3 more. By the way, Joe will vouch for this because he saw it all from like off on the side. So he goes to jump rope, and I literally put my clipboard out and slapped the rope from behind him.
You and that
he
clipboard.
turned around like he was gonna kill me. The rage in his face, and then I looked and I was like, you got 3 more toe to bar. And then he was like, oh crap, jumped up, did them, went back to the double unders, crushed the workout, did fine. But the purpose of that being is if I would have known that he didn't do those 3, and because it was hard to talk to him and I knew the situation, I just kind of let that go. But then later on, Joe, who was watching everybody else, saw that he didn't do those 3, and then it got back to him. Well, knowing Brad and his personality, that would piss him off because then he would know that he didn't do the workout correctly, and he'd be really upset that I let him do all that work and he has to redo all of it because he skipped 3 toe to bar, which was on me as his judge anyways.
Right,
because that's my job.
And I think that's just like, it's a hard thing to give a no rep or whatever, but you can kind of mention it to them like, you need to be lower or I have to, or
Right. Yeah.
Grace is coming, go lower. Say that, they'll probably go lower.
Yeah, you could always kind of like blame it on us, makes you feel better, but we just wanted to make this short video about it, so that way it kind of leveled the playing field to say that like, hey, like, everybody's gonna miss standard, I'm gonna get no reps, she's gonna get no reps, it's gonna happen, and it's not anything bad or back on you guys, and when we come around and uphold that standard, it's not because we're trying to be bad guys or whatever, be snippety about it. And the slight little point that I put about people kind of just talking about it or coming up and questioning us about it, that's just the reality of the situation. It doesn't need to change anything, its own pressure. And I think to kind of, I'll let you of course say something, but to wrap it in a bow for me, there used to be this quote that said, nobody cares what your time is, nobody cares what the weight on the bar is, nobody cares how many reps you got, everybody will care if you cheat. What do you got to add to that?
And I think this is just something we bring up in the open. It's not like cheating is like happening every single place all the time. Like I wouldn't even say, I'd say there was a couple mishaps where it just is. No. The whole podcast. The whole podcast. I don't think that's like a ongoing like huge problem that happens. I think it's like the one thing in the open though that separates the open from just a regular day, because you try harder, because we care about our scores. So I think it's just the one thing that has to get like reiterated during the open.
Yeah, it's also going to be funny because the amount of people that are going to watch this and be like, they were talking about me.
They were talking about me.
I get that. I put stuff in my stories, and those of you guys that follow me on Instagram, shout out. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing in life. Like that plug. I don't even post that much though. But when I do, people are always usually like, you're so mean, or I'll post something and they'll be like, I felt like you were talking directly to me, and it's like, no, I'm not. It's just, this is just happens to everybody. Mm-hmm. You're not that special.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else to add? You are special. I was just kidding. You're special.
I want to give
special to me
a couple of cool shout outs like we have every open workout.
Oh, okay. Keep it rolling though, because we remember an SD card.
Okay. You just cut in right there.
At the end of today's workout,
you're going to.
I'll just
I know you are.
edit it right to there. And yeah, paced it well. Good job.
Okay.
All right, we'll sign this bad boy up. We'll land the plane. If you guys are still watching this far, I'm surprised. All right. Have a great rest of your day.